Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Collection Mania Monday and we're reaching close to the end of our colored pencil collection. However, we still have a couple more to go. And today's collection is the Winsor Newton colored pencils. And as you can see, I've got them all in a holder because typically I store them in this bag, which is just a little tiny bag that they all sit on top of each other in, and it looks like a jumbled mess. So I put them in the pencil holder so that we can easily get to them and use them appropriately. So let's take a look at the pencils. Let's switch, let's take a look at the swatch chart first. So this is a swatch chart created by Emily Illustrator uh, and of course you can download it, I do believe, on her website as well as her Facebook group, but I'm not positive on that. I know that I got it off of her website because she told me it was there and I could. Now, the Winsor Newton colored pencils do not have any numbers on them, but they do have the color names. So I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera so we can take a look at some of the colors. We have white, we have a lime zest. I just noticed my nails are dirty. Sorry, guys. We have yellow, sunflower, amber, apricot, orange, honeycomb, mandarin, red, lipstick red, poppy, carmine, rose pink, antique pink, magenta, soft peach, pastel pink, and a dusky rose, and I love this color. Now I don't know why my nails are dirty since I just washed my hands. Sorry, I'm just cleaning out from underneath them. I washed my hands, then I went outside for a minute and moved the garbage cans in and washed my hands again, but moving the garbage cans in should not have made my fingernails that dirty. I must have done something else. You ever do that throughout the day, just doing little things and just don't notice? And I think my fingernails are stained from doing a couple of chores yesterday because I have bathed since. All right, so we have dusky rose, plum, purple, violet, midnight, royal blue, true blue, French navy, china, sky blue, azure, duck egg, which is a gorgeous color as well, turquoise, green, grass, lush green, olive green, caramel, cocoa, sorry, terracotta, burnt sienna, umber, shale, there we go, shale, warm gray, ice gray 3, ice gray 2, cool gray 4, warm gray 4, cool gray 5, and black. So it has 48 colors in it, a good range of colors, and it has some really good deep actual reds. You know, it's a little pinky or it's a little orangey, it's an actual red, which is fantastic. Has a really good selection of purples as well, and for a smaller set, a great selection of blues. The greens are a little lacking, but that's okay. It still gives you your three main greens for doing foliage, which is great too. Has a really good selection of browns for a small set, as well as a good selection of grays for a small set. So typically you can pretty much color anything you want with these pencils. So I'm going to grab a pencil and show you the actual pencils. Now you're not going to be able to see it very well, but right here is a Winsor & Newton stamp, and then the color name, and then the color dip, and the end of the pencil here. I'm just noticing there's all sorts of smuts on it. So I'm actually going to sharpen this one because I have used it, but I haven't sharpened it since I used it last. And I just noticed that there might be a crack in it, but I think it was just schmutz from being in that bag. Basically in the bag you end up with pencils rubbing against each other and end up with other colors on there that don't belong. So make sure if you do store your pencils in a bag that you sharpen them afterwards. Don't sharpen them before you put them in the bag. Otherwise you're going to just end up with broken tips and color everywhere. Alright. So we're going to color with these today. In our hug book. Yesterday I did not get a chance to do the hug because I was watching everybody's streams and then I had housework to do and all that fun stuff. The Saturday's hug was the kangaroo hug, which is awesome. I love kangaroos. I think they're so cute. And then gingerbread man and woman is our hug for today. So I'm just going to put a clamp on the page here so that I can hold it down. I've got my trusty paper in there, and hopefully you guys can see that okay. I'm trying to do it so that it's clamped down but not in the way. That's difficult. And then we're going to clamp the other side as well because we're also going to be coloring this one today, which is a monster and little girl. So we'll be coloring both of those today. So let's start on the gingerbread men. And we're going to start with caramel. Which is a light brown. And we're just going to start on the back of this fella. Let's see if I can make sure that I'm in. Now it looks like they have the borders of his pants there, but everybody knows you don't put icing on the back of a cookie, so I'm not quite sure what to do with that. I'm going to put icing on the front of the cookie like I'll do her dress, but on the back of a cookie you don't put icing on the back of the cookie. So I might just do it a little bit darker, or I'll do it lighter. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do it with the caramel tones here, and I won't go too far past the caramel tones. And then on the inside of his pant area, I'll make it a little bit darker. I know this is supposed to be gingerbread, so it's supposed to be dark. But I think what I'm going to do is because there's multiple kinds of gingerbread. There's a white gingerbread as well as a dark gingerbread. So I think I will do his outside of his pant area, the solid areas here, in white gingerbread, and we'll do the inside in dark gingerbread. So I'm just laying down this color. The pencils seem to do quite well in this book. I have used them for a couple of different projects and they are fairly smooth, and you can put some good pressure on them and get them to smush together quite well. They blend very nicely, which is great. Alright, and we're going to do her arms the same way. Just because it's the back of her arms, and we all know that the backs of cookies don't have icing on them. You don't get to see all the pretty decorations on the boy cookie. Alright, so the next color we're going to use is Cocoa, and I'm going to sharpen this one. And we're just going to build that color all the way up into the umber. And this one here, I'm going to skip that edge. Just try to stay in. We're going to just do the shadow areas of that edge with this one. Making it look like it's cooked. The reason for that is just to give it a little bit of contrast so that it doesn't look well, I guess it's a cookie, it's kind of flat, isn't it? But it will have a bit shadows. I'm trying to give more dimension to it than it has. It is only, a few millimeters thick, so unless it's a really thick cookie. But the inside here is going to drop down just a touch because of the two different types of cookie dough. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. You don't have to press hard on these pencils, which is great. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just putting in a blanketing area of color. Wanted a little bit of that orangey brown tone so that when I go over it with the dark, it'll mix that in a little. It will have that little bit of red in the highlighted areas. A little bit of that red tone. A little bit of red tint. There, that's the words. Maybe. I could be completely wrong on my wording, but that's alright. I'm not technical. It's brown. But it's a reddish brown, so. Alright, now we're going to go with a little bit of burnt sienna. gonna sharpen this one too. Maybe. My hands aren't working today. And my clothing is being restrictive, and oh, it's just one of those days. Now I'm just going in and I'm darkening the darker areas. Not going too far with it because I don't want it to overtake. I just want it to darken a little bit. And now I'm also going to be going over it with a little bit of a darker color as well. Hopefully the paper will let me. It seems to be taking the color quite easily. So we're gonna push its limits, and we're gonna see if it'll let us add more colors to it. Right now I'm just concentrating on the back of this fellow. And then we'll get to her hands here in a minute. Alright, and then down here. And then if you press too hard, you go snap. I don't know what it is lately. I seem to be snapping my pencils left, right, and center. It's driving me crazy. It just seems to be every pencil I use goes snap. Alright, now we're going to use some umber. And we're going to mix into those red tones. Coloring gingerbread's hard. So I'm just following the lines that the artist has given us. I'm just putting in a little bit of darkness all over because he is a gingerbread man, and gingerbread is quite dark. Now we have a storm rolling through, so hopefully the wind won't blow out the power before I get this uploaded. I've got a bunch of appointments to make as well, so my son had a cold last week, but because he had a high fever, excuse me, we had to cancel a bunch of appointments. So I have to remake them. Alright. Like I said, I'm just going through and following the lines that the artist has given us for the dark areas, making sure that he looks like a gingerbread man. Going a little bit heavier handed in the really dark areas. Trying to make sure that I don't completely remove the other colors. Just want it to blend with the other colors, not remove them. Alright. Then we're going to flip you this way. So I think I've reached the end of the line in some areas on how much more color I can put in. There's a couple of areas that feel very smooth where there's color still going down, but I think it's pretty much the last color that will be able to go down, which is fine. Alright, put that one away, and then we're going to go back to our caramel, which is our lightest color. We're just going to brighten up that edge and darken up those highlights a bit. Because we don't want them to look half-baked. I know, bad pun, but it was funny. In my head it was anyway. Alright. Then we'll do her arms, and then we'll break out some actual color, more colors for icing and whatnot. Oh goodness, that startled me. I thought I had turned off the notifications on my phone. At least lowered the sound of them. Alright, Evelyn, you didn't see that. Alright, so we've got our caramel out, and we're going to put that back, and then we're going to grab our cocoa, and we're going to put some cocoa in her darker areas. Down the sides of her outfit and herself here. Just because I want it to be a little bit discernible from the other one. So now we're going to go in with the, oh, that's not the right color. I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, maybe it was. Oh, it's the right one. Okay, so I thought I grabbed the umber. Did I grab the wrong pencil? Okay. So I thought I had grabbed the umber, but I didn't. I actually grabbed the warm gray 5, which seemed to work. Let's see what the umber does. Yeah, the umber adds a little bit more of that red brown color, which the umber does not. It adds more of that dark brown color. So warm gray 5 instead of the umber. I looked at it on the color chart and thought it was going to be too dark, so that's why I didn't think of grabbing that one. But it seems my brain said, oh no, that's the one you want. Grabbed it anyway. I thought for sure I'd grab the umber. So I'm just going through and adding just a touch of the umber to that warm gray 5 on her hands here. Just going through and adding that dark color to her edges. Now I'm going to do that as hair. Okay. Now we're going to go back with the caramel and do this area. And grab that warm gray 5 and just fill it in. There we go. That's better. Do the edges here. And then the edges of the backs of her hands. Now the front of the cookie, I'm going to color it as if I had icinged it and did the icing for the gingerbread. Because, you know, why not? I could obviously color her the same way with the light gingerbread and the dark gingerbread areas, but it's always fun to icing gingerbread cookies, so Alright, so we're going to put the caramel back, and we're going to put the umber back, and the gray, warm gray 5 back. And then we're going to start with some pinks. So let's start with antique pink. And we're just going to sharpen this up. We're going to do the dark areas and the shadows with the antique pink. Because she's going to have a pink dress. I know, not really Christmassy colors, but I still like having a non-traditional coloring. Alright, and then we're going to do her stockings red or pink and white. So we're going to do the dark areas with this dark pink. Alright, just going to bring that out a little. Just following the lines, the guidelines of the artist here. And then we're going to take rose pink, and we're going to blend into that antique pink. And we're going to sharpen this up. Just have to be careful that you don't make your pencil too sharp on this paper, because it will go through. Now we're going to take, I don't want magenta. What color do I want? Take a little tiny bit of carmine. Go into those areas there. I'm going to do the bottom of her feet in stockings as well, in this pastel pink color. Just putting in those shadow areas. I'm trying not to press too hard. Because I don't want to cut into the paper. Alright. And the same as over here. just going to bring that magenta in a little bit. Well, actually it's carmine, not magenta. And blend it into that pink a little. Around the edges. Like so. Okay. Now we're going to give her a bit of a skin tone. Let's see if we can do that on. So we need these 3 colors. I know she's a gingerbread man, so it's not going to although I have done proper skin tones on a gingerbread person. Because yeah, I'm just that crazy. So I use the dusky rose for the shadowy areas. And then we're going to use soft peach. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to use the pastel pink. And then we're going to use the soft peach. And we're just doing the skin tones. Then we're going to take a little bit of lipstick red. And then we're going to do her hair. First we're going to take a little touch of black. Just define those eye areas a little bit. And we'll take our peach, just spread that out a little. Just dull it down just a touch. Now we're going to do her hair. And what color do I want to do her hair? I think I want to do her hair blue, because why not? So we're going to start with azure. Maybe she's grandma. She's a grandma gingerbread man. Gingerbread girl. Gingerbread woman. And she has blue-gray hair. So I'm just putting in a as your blue in the edges of the hair and in the darker areas. And then we're going to take Ice Blue 3. And we're going to fill that in. Like so. And there we have our gingerbread men. I'm going to put in some round here. So I'm going to take warm gray number 4. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And I will take a little bit of umber and do the cookie crumbles that are down there as well. Maybe I'll use shale. No, umber. Definitely umber. And that's little bits of cookie. And this is little bits of cookie. They're falling apart. Alright, and there we have our gingerbread cookie people. And I'm going to take the caramel, I'm just going to fill in this area here a little bit more. Looks a little white. And I don't mind a little bit of white spot, but when it stands out more than everything else on the page, it can be a little annoying. Alright, but there we have our gingerbread couple. So now we're going to do this monster couple here. And we're going to start off with her skin tone since I have those out. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and adjust myself here because my ankle started hurting. Alright, so we're going to start with the Dusky Rose. Just going to give it a sharpen. And we're going to go in and do her shadowy areas. She has very little skin showing, but it's still got some shadow areas from her ears and her neck and under her chin. And then we're going to take the soft peach, because the fact that there is very little skin there, we're just going to put in the shadow color and the base color. That's her collar. Okay. All right. And just for a little tiny bit of blend, we'll use that light pink. So that is pastel pink. All right. So I've got these going the wrong way. I'll put them back in order so I can find them when I need them again. So now we're going to do her hair, and we're going to start with caramel. We're going to sharpen this up a little bit because it's a very, very small detail area. Now when you're when you're using a sharp pencil like this, you have to be fairly careful with what kind of pressure you're going to be using. And lately I have not been a very good judge of that, and I have been snapping pencils left, right, and center. Because, yeah, why not, right? Been over exuberant, I guess. I'm just not judging my pressure properly. And then we're going to take the burnt sienna and we're going to do the dark areas of her hair. Now, like I said, this is a very, very small detailed area, so getting all those hair flicks in is obviously not going to happen as well as a larger picture. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going through and choosing where I want that darker color to be just by following the lines that the artist has already put there, because this book is basically not supposed to be colored, so the artist has already put in all of those shadow lines and that sort of thing. So I'm just basically following those. And then we're going to go over it again with the caramel. I'm not going to put too many colors in because, like I said, the paper doesn't take too much. And I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to add a bit of yellow to that. I don't think I do. I think the caramel does just fine. I want it to be kind of a dirty blonde kind of color. Like so. Alright, so we've got her hair done. And it looks an awfully lot oranger on screen than on the page, I hope. If it looks that orange on the page, then I'm in trouble, because yeah, that is not the way I see it. And then we're going to take a little bit of red and lipstick red with some carmine. We're going to start with the carmine for the darkest areas of her blouse here, dress, I'm not quite sure. She has really long arms if her fingers are way out there. I just noticed that. I don't see any toes or anything, so. But she has really long arms. And I'm going to take some lipstick red. And then I'm going to take some red. And I think this area here. Just trying to make sure I get all the areas that are her clothes and not his fur. Okay, so red, lipstick red, carmine. Then we're going to do a little bit of gray, blue, ice gray number 2 on her collar here because it's going to be white. Like that. And then the white. Like so. Alright, and then I gotta adjust her fingers. So I've got the soft peach. And we're going to just color in her fingertips here that are poking out there. Alright, and then we're going to do the monster. Oh goodness. I think I am going to take a quick break and check on those noises because they do not sound good. I will start recording again and we will finish the monster in just a moment. Okay, so that's not so bad. Sorry about that, guys. It seems the wind has decided that everything on my deck needs to be on my lawn. So I'll have to go out there after the storm and pick everything up. Not a big deal. So I'm debating between purple or green for the monster. I think I want to do him. Well, I don't like the green-eyed monster, so that's what I'm debating on and where I'm going back and forth on. So I'm going to start with, yeah. I'm going to start with sky blue. So we're going to do purples and blues. So we're going to start with the sky blue and then we'll move into the violet colors. Just going to sharpen this up. Just going to base him with this blue. This is not a very dark color. It'll give the highlights a good, vibrant jutting out. And it will lighten any light purple that I put over top of it, because there's not really a very pale purple in this set. I'm not worried too much about shadows or anything else at this point. I'm not pressing hard. I'm just making sure that I get some blue on everything that is monsterish. Not worried about the lines. However, I'm trying to make sure I don't go over her fingertips because I really don't want her fingertips to be blue. We could always do it like the abominable and just do him like a bumble. He doesn't have the face of a bumble though, so. This storm is just, last night it was really windy, and today it's supposed to be quite windy as well. We're supposed to get some rain in there somewhere too, but so far we haven't had any major amounts of rain, just a lot of wind. I'm really hoping it doesn't knock the power out. I've got so much to do. I've got bedding to wash and trying to make sure I don't go over her shirt collar. You guys can barely see the blue. Like I said, I'm just putting down a base coat. This is actually not even close to the color that it's going to be, so. But because it's only a 48 set, it's the largest set available for these pencils. I will be adding different colors to it and creating my own colors because it doesn't have the colors I want. And yeah, I could grab another set, but then it wouldn't be the Collection Mania Monday for the Winsor Newton colored pencils. It'd be a mix. How to make Winsor and Newton colored pencils mix with others, which you could definitely do, but we'll do that on another video, another time. I do not know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow for Tips and Tricks Tuesday. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below of anything that you may want to see done. Last week we did mist, and the week before we did ghost, apparitional type of people. So whatever you want to see done, let me know. So now we're going to start with building his colors. And we're going to start with the royal blue. Let's give it a sharpen. My royal blue seems to have issues, so hopefully it doesn't decide to have issues today. Now we're just going to flick in the dark areas of his hair. And those shadow areas. And of course we're going to go dark to light. And his hair goes in all different directions. So I'm just concentrating on those areas where the hair overlaps or joins in. And hopefully you guys can see it. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Just if my mouse will cooperate with me. So let's see, properties. Let's zoom you in. Zoom, zoom, zoom. There you go. And I'll try to remember to move the picture as I get further down the book. That's my biggest problem, is I get going along and I forget to move the picture so you can actually see what I'm doing. Alright. Just trying to make sure that I don't miss any strands of hair that are sticking out either. Move back up here. Check the camera, make sure that I'm not going off screen. is that just putting in those shadowy areas. And we'll put his teeth back to white with a gel pen. So I just noticed that I colored his teeth blue. Oh, he doesn't need white teeth. He's a monster. They don't brush their teeth. Alright. Lots of flicking going on. That's what happens when you got a hairy monster, I guess. Lots of hair. Now when you're doing hair like this in a flicking motion, make sure that you're using a fairly stiff leaded pencil, like either Faber-Castell, or the ones that I find really work well for doing hair especially, are a firmer oil-based pencil. The Tombow Irigitan are great for doing hair because they never lose their tip. They are a very, very, very stiff pencil. They have good pigmentation, but they're really very stiff. So they're really good for doing hair. Just making sure I get into those darker areas with a good level of that darkness, because I will be going through and adding a little bit of purple to that, which is a dark color as well, but not as dark as this royal blue. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Now we're going down the side of him a little. Make sure I don't color her fingers. Goodness. The wind is giving me a bit of anxiety. I think it's because I know it's blowing things around. I don't want them blown all over the place. But that's what the wind does, right? You kinda gotta expect it. Does not mean that I gotta like it. So still going through with the darkest of areas, flicking into those other areas. Now for areas like this that is definitely darker because of the shadow, just filling it in. I'm not flicking it in. just following the lines that the artist has given us. And adding a few of my own. Sure, why not? Then we're going down onto his foot here. Now you gotta remember his other hand is under there as well. And then into his fingertips. Alright. And then we gotta sharpen again because I've dulled the pencil. And you can't flick with a dull pencil. Well, you can, it just doesn't give you the thin hairlines that you want. Just gonna fill in this area. Try not to change the color of her arm there. I think I need to add a little bit. Pink there, and then just add some hair coming over top. And then his toes. So I hope everybody enjoyed the color-a-thon this weekend. Shell did such a good job putting everybody together, and with Angie's help doing the schedule, and she just did such a good job. I tried to make as many as I could, but there's only so much you can do in a weekend. Now we have a couple of different things coming up specifically for our channel. One of which is our 1-year anniversary has come, and that would be, I think, the very first video I put on the channel was the 26th. The rest of them were ones that were from a different channel that I moved over here with me. But the channel's anniversary is either come up or it's today. I'm not absolutely positive, but I will check. I guess I should check that before I started. It doesn't feel like it's been a year, so I think it's very, very shocking to me that it has been a year. But we have a little bit of a party going to happen. We're going to do that in conjunction with a bit of a Halloween party, because I'm pretty sure that's the very first party that I had on the channel was a Halloween party stream. So we'll have some giveaways, maybe we'll play a game, we'll do some coloring. all the fun stuff. All right. Just getting a little darker in there where her face is buried in. Okay, so we've got the dark color in the hair. Now we're going to go with the next color, which is violet. I think is the next dark color. So now we're just going to try not to break our tip off our pencil. We're just going to extend that color from the dark areas. So just bringing that down into the lighter areas there. And same with here. Sharpen this pencil a little bit. Try not to break the tip off of it this time. Oh, let's not break the entire pencil. So I do find with these pencils, they do break very, very easily. I do believe my set may have been damaged in shipping because I'm getting a lot of very, very fragile cores that are just breaking when sharpening. And I'm sharpening it with a crank sharpener, so that should not be happening. But Amazon is not very kind with their shipping. I wish they would understand that, colored pencils are fragile. But they don't. A lot of them sit there going, oh, they're just pencil grounds, They don't look at it as an art supply. And Pencil crayons are not indestructible. They're very destructible. Stop destructing them with your lack of courtesy in your shipping department. Alright, so still just flicking away. Right now we're just using the violet. Make sure that we don't go over her fingertips. Extending that royal blue out into the rest of the hand. Okay, I'm going to turn you here. It's just easier to flick that way. It's funny, his hair's going two different directions on one side and a completely different direction on the other side. But that's what you get for coloring a hairy beast. And we're going to come down into here. And up from here. And then down through his hair here. And here. All right. I think he's starting to look purple. And then down here. Trying to maintain that flicking. Especially down the longer strands of hair. And you guys can't see anything I'm doing because I'm not on screen. How rude. There we go. Alright. Then the next one we're going to use is purple. just going to color in the areas that are open like that. Just blanket color in the dark or the open areas that's going to be light. Going over, making sure that the areas of flicking are still showing the hair texture. And then I will go over it one more time with the blue just to lighten up that reddish tone and put a little tiny bit more of a blue tone. We'll see. We'll see how it looks after I'm done. Make sure we don't go over her fingertips. I've got a rogue hair here. A couple of hairs that needed a little more color. And I'm just blanket coloring it in the same way I did with the blue, but with a bit of the purple, just to cover those areas that don't have a lot of flicking going on. Getting the colors to be a nice purple, because purple's a nice color. I like purple. And a purple monster is better than a green-eyed monster. Alright. Just gonna make sure I get all of those hairs. Like so. And then we're going to take that sky blue again. And we're just going to very, very, very lightly go over the highlighty areas. And blend those together. Give that purple just a touch more blue. Like so. Still trying to maintain my camera. And on his toes. Okay. I think that's most of the monster all covered up there. Now we're going to put in a little bit of gray, warm gray number 5 under his feet, where we need some shadow. For where he's sitting. Oy. Just gonna make it so that the floor goes behind them a little bit. And make sure that we get that area down here a little bit darker than the rest of the area in the back. Come to think of it, that earlier ding on my phone was probably the emergency weather advisory telling me it's windy out there. Alright, we're going to finish this off here. And all the way up to here. And I forgot to move my paper. So what kind of damage did we do to the backside here? We've got some erasing to do. I forgot to move the paper from the gingerbread. Oh well. It just means I've got some erasing to do later. Because tomorrow's picture now has a bird on it. Alright. So I'm going to switch it over to the close-up camera here. Stick this back on. And maybe, not the close-up camera, the main camera, I mean. And just take a bit of this blender here and blend in that floor a little bit. There we go. Same with his arm. So it was looking a little rough. But it is hair, so I guess it's supposed to look a little rough, but take our white gel pen and we're going to put his teeth back in. And one there. And I think that's it. I think there's just the 3 little teeth. And we're going to go like this. There we go. Alright, so let's switch over to the, oh, let's not hit that camera. Switch you over to the main camera here so you can see what we've done today. So we have colored a wonderful purple monster hug, as well as a wonderful gingerbread boy and gingerbread girl hug. And those are our hugs for yesterday and today. So this is October 25th. '21, and this is hug number 66, I believe. Yes, and 67. And this one here is hug 67. And those are our hugs for the day. Hopefully you can see them okay. Of course, tomorrow, like I said, the next hug needs to be erased a little because we've got a bit of a birdie on it. So we'll erase the birdie hug off of it, but we have a wonderful Snow White and a dwarf hug. So we'll be coloring that tomorrow. And then we have a rhino hug. So that is number 67 and 66 completed out of 100. Whew, we're getting there. We're getting there. We will be done all of the hugs by the end of the year. And then we will start next year in this book. And I'm going to be reading this book. So this is Neil Gaiman, Art Matters, because your imagination can change the world. And Chris Riddell has illustrated this book. And we will be reading this book and possibly coloring in it. We will see. And of course, thank you so much, Ashley. I appreciate it. And I keep reading it, but I keep on worrying I'm gonna, wreck the pages. So it's like I don't bend them. But yes, I will be reading from that every day, at least once or twice a week, depending upon time constraints, until that book is complete. Alright guys, until next time, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video with the information from the Winsor and Newton colored pencils. This is not a review. This is just that they are in my collection and I enjoy them. So they work very well for, what I use them for. And of course I do use them. I have found that there are a couple of them that may have gotten damaged during shipping and may have a bit of a shattered core. But until they're all gone, I will enjoy them and I will continue to use them. And yeah. Tomorrow is Tips and Tricks Tuesday. I do not have any ideas for Tips and Tricks Tuesday. So if you have something that you want to see, please do leave me a comment in the comment area below so that I can put something together for you. Um, what else was I going to say? Huh. Other than that, guys, of course, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to join me over Facebook, on Facebook, words are hard. Make sure that you fill out the application form and we'll get you in as quickly as possible. Until then, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Until next time, guys, bye-bye for now.